What's up, y'all? Another how-to DIY video on your BMW X5 35i's, the N55s. This pretty much goes for all of them, 2011 to 2018. Will all have the same procedure for the spark plugs and coil packs or ignition coils. I just got a kit off FCP Euro for the Bosch OE equivalent spark plugs and Delphi coil packs, which I have used before on many of my other BMWs. I think Delphi packs are the best aftermarket ones you could probably get. When trying to do it yourself, save some money, so on and so forth. You know, they say you should change your spark plugs around every 40,000 miles or so. I think the manufacturer recommendations is every 30 to 90,000 miles. Someone can correct me if I'm wrong. It's been about 30,000 miles since we did this, and we've changed out some charge pipes, some boost piping. We had some torn hoses, just a bunch of random boost leaks that we have fixed, and now I just kind of want to go through and spruce everything up. It is getting kind of high on mileage. We're creeping up to 175,000 already in the X5. But it's pretty basic. What we're going to do is, I'll flip you around. We're gonna need to take off engine cover. Looks like this air box, the intake with your map sensor right there. This intake piping, probably some of this foam, this heat shield, probably some of that. But all of it is pretty straightforward, so I'm gonna try and set you up and we'll get on it. All right, so hopefully you guys can see me good, but so take off the engine cover. So I want to take off the oil cap, not milky, always a great sign. We have changed out all of our oil cooler stuff, oil filter housing gasket, so all that stuff should be looking good. So basically what you're going to want to do is pull straight up on this back part, and then it slides out. Got these little slide tabs. Don't be alarmed if the grommet stays on the valve cover. That happens a lot. And then I just drop it down to the bottom. The feel, we'll get that later. Whatever. Alright, so now we're gonna need to take off this bad boy. Very basic. There's just like a little push tab right here. And then that lifts up. And then you're gonna want to grab either a flathead or a little pick, just like this. And there's these little tabs kind of right here by the oil filter housing. You're gonna just want to push those in and down, just like that. It's very easy to break these clips because they're just all plastic, but as you can see from me pushing them in so much, I've actually replaced this before. Fairly inexpensive part. So now that you got that done, you're gonna want to grab one of your flatheads. I think you can also use just an 8mm socket. I'm pretty sure it's either an 8 or a 6. But I just use a flathead because it's the easiest for me. And if you're not careful, tightening down with a ratchet, or even just like, because I had a bad habit of using like an impact and stuff on these just to go quick, and then you tighten it down and you can snap the rings, twist them. You know, you don't want to over torque this stuff, crack the piping. So it really is just good to use hand tools for your intake stuff, because one tiny little crack in this will cause major boost errors and all that. So it's kind of like the same thing with the engine cover. What you're gonna do is it has these little grommets, I think like about right here, and I think one in the back as well. And you just pull up a little bit. Oh yeah, you know what? Before I go any further, you should remove all these wires from the air box. They just pull straight up. So I see the problem. So I'm not hitting with my purse hard enough. Okay, so there's that. Alright. Man, that one is caked on there pretty good. So looks like all our grommets actually stayed in. So now that we got that off, just throw that off to the side here. You're just gonna wanna loosen up this little piece. All right, y'all, finally got the rest of the intake stuff off, but not without a cost. So this is so stuck on here. I was shimmying it, and I didn't want to crack this part right here, which I think we did pretty good. That's still stuck in here, so I tried to go from the PCV side, and I mean, it's just snapped. I mean, you can hear it. Yeah, it's so brittle, discolored. So fortunately, we will have to source that, but probably a good thing. Next, what we're gonna do is take off this, and there's another one right here. I had already cut this previously from just kind of give myself some easier access. Basically, it's just like some push tabs and whatnot, and I'm just gonna push those in, and I'm gonna show you what I'm talking about. So it's just this little tab right here. You just kind of push it in, and just kind of push this tab in, and it'll release it to go up. You're gonna want to move this wiring and stuff, just so you aren't tearing anything, anything like that. Like I said, you got one over here as well. So we're gonna get that all moved out of the way, and then we'll have access to the back cylinders there. All right, so now we got this shimmied out of there very carefully. Basically, there's just a couple 225s on this end. You can use a stubby. I just took off all of this because I wanted to anyways. It'll make it way easier for torquing down these back ones. So you're kind of probably going to want to take that all off anyways. It's very easy. All you use is a 13 mil to loosen all of those up, and then the cabin filters will have those same 13 mils right here, and there's a couple T25s as well as two 10 mils just holding down that plastic piece. and then it all just kind of comes out. And I'm just slowly putting everything in the trunk. Since we broke that crankcase piece, we're gonna source that tonight. Get the majority of everything taken apart, but you're gonna want to disconnect the battery when you do start unplugging all the ignition coils and all that. So I'm just throwing everything in the trunk beforehand, and getting this kind of all taken off and ready to go. I'm gonna actually get a little paper towel for that leaking oil coming out of the crankcase. But yeah, basically just T25s and then a little push tab on that. You can lift it up and you're gonna be moving it around as you go, and then you just take these guys out of its hole, and then I'm gonna take these two out, just so that way again you can kind of move these wires about. And then you're gonna want to need a T30 for this bracket, so that way you have access to number 5. Again, hand tighten everything. This is a plastic valve cover, so don't want to be cracking that, just trying to put stuff back on. But yeah, so we're gonna take that stuff off, source the crankcase, and then we'll see you guys back again tomorrow when we have some more sunlight. All right, so we are creeping up to home base. We found that crankcase piece at our local O'Reilly's, so thankfully we were able to source that very quickly. It may look like it was a lot of time. It's only 5 o'clock and it is pitch black. Had to take the E92 out, go grab that part. But now that we're back, we're gonna attack this first thing in the morning and show you a few tricks on pulling out the ignition coils. If it's been a while, it's been about, like I said, 30,000 miles, I think like 2 years. This is the wife's daily, so we're gonna show you some tricks in the morning and hopefully get all these ignition coils out in one piece. And yeah, that'll be that. All right, y'all, it is the next day and completely changed the weather. It is freezing today. I don't know if you can see my breath right there, but got the new part for the PCV. So what we're gonna do next is take all this crap out of the trunk again, because under this is our battery connection, and you're gonna want to remove the negative terminal, just for safe practicing. There's a lot of mixed people saying you don't have to take a terminal off the battery. I just think it's best to play it safe, not cause any shorts in your electrical system. So we're gonna take that off, and while we do that, I got some handy dandy silicone lubricant. It's great for taking out these spark plug boots and whatnot. The ignition coils, so we're just gonna spray some down around like your ignition coil areas. Try and get inside of the boot as best you can and not all over your electrical connections. Got some of that around the head of the boot, kind of help us release it up a little bit, and then we'll get some more inside. Try and get it to run down to where the top of the spark plug meets, because especially in this dry area, if you're in anywhere dry like me, those things love to tear, and that is also not fun, but easy to fix with just a pick. So take all these out and disconnect the battery. So to get to the battery tray on your X5, you just lift this up, and then as you can see, doesn't seem like there's much going on, but once you remove a few Phillips out the way, just throw all those in there, and you can just it's kind of like these little hook tabs. Oh, missing two down there. And that will give you access to your battery right there. And then we're just gonna undo the negative terminal and set it off to the side. All right, now you don't have to do this, but I always do something like this. A lot of people hang it, or just something super easy to just put like something foam or whatever between, because this is all zip tied up and I don't want to remove the factory zip ties or anything like that. So just kind of keep this out of the way just so it doesn't get pushed onto that negative terminal on accident. We're gonna start with the back three, and we're gonna go from the hardest one to the front ones, but basically I'll just show you how to get like these back ones, and then the rest will be pretty self-explanatory. Won't get too crazy and make this video too long or anything like that, but it is definitely helpful to show you some tricks on how to pull that out, as well as just torquing everything down and all that. So, and I also like to do them one at a time. Like I'll pull the ignition coil and I'll pull the spark plug out, and then I'll put the spark plug back in, torque it down, and put the ignition coil back in, and then go. You don't have to do it that way. You can pull them all out at the same time if you want. I have also done that when doing major like rebuilds and stuff like that, valve cover, but just when I'm doing something like just the ignition coils and spark plugs, just to avoid, you know, moving, you know, 5 and 6 wires and stuff like that, and it's just a lot easier to do one at a time. All right, so it's been like 5 minutes, really just warming up for a second. You don't have to let really anything drain. Once you take out the negative terminal, you should be good to go, but it's always, you know, I'm always safe than sorry, because these older like E70s, MSV80s, just the older PCMs, the older BMW electrical work can be finicky. So basically yesterday we got this wiring harness moved out of the way. There's just like a little tab right here. You're gonna pull that out, and then pull one of these out, and just kind of, you know, very carefully just shimmy the wires over here, and that right there is number 6. So basically all you need to do is pull, oh, it's all stuck, pull up and to unlock the wiring, and then just pull straight back on the clip. Of course, my big hands are hard to get in here, and just kind of throw it off to the side like so. If I can just get it over here. At the same time, I'm also inspecting all the wires just to make sure we don't have any breakages or anything like that. It's a little bit dirty, but everything looks pretty good from what I can tell. All right, so I was trying to set the camera up at an angle where you'll be able to see exactly what I am doing. Hopefully I don't drop my phone. But basically, if I can do my regular trick, so basically what I do is get an extension underneath like so. So that way I have good leverage when pulling this out. Try and do so without tearing the boot. So, as you can see, I don't know if you can see, but I have one finger or two fingers on both sides. Just kind of pull up, and it should pop out just like that. Might have to twist it or whatever to get that head out, and then boom, just like that. You know, the silicone does help. As I was saying before, Delphi coils, these have been in there about 30,000 miles, so they actually still look pretty decent. But we already have all new ones, so we'll probably just save these in the box for another day. All right, so you'll see me doing this a lot in my videos, but I was wrong. It is not a 5/8 socket. I don't know why I was thinking that it was a 5/8 socket. I think it's because I just did my other car, and that is a 5/8 socket. So I was still thinking that. It is not, I forgot. It is actually the slim type. That's the same as the N54 or the N20s and all that. So we're gonna have to see. This is the bad part about fucking not doing your work at the shop. Freaking all my tools are 30 minutes away. So what we're gonna do instead is just go buy one, because there's just an O'Reilly's literally like right around the corner of my shop, so, or my house I should say. So we're just gonna go and buy one. Fucking E92 warm up. I got a bad habit of always checking the oil before I go. I don't know if that's a bad habit or a good habit. You guys tell me in the comments, but I always sit there, and because it could take a while, especially with the stock kind like mine is without the iDrive. It could take a second. So we're gonna cut it, and then we'll show you the socket you need at O'Reilly's. All right, so basically just left the O'Reilly's, got this for like $5. I think it was like $7 after tax. But you're just gonna want a 14 mil 12 point thin wall socket, just like this. Like I said, I had one at my shop, but I didn't want to drive that far to go and get it. Plus, running low on gas, so I'd have to get gas. And yeah, honestly, literally, it's cheaper to just go buy one than drive all the way over there. So we're gonna get back and get this all seated. All you need is just one extension, and there should be just enough room to kind of shimmy everything in there. All right, so basically this is the setup I have going. Just enough room. Your hands are gonna be cramped, especially if you got big hands like me. But see if I can't set you up like this. All right, I cut the video because I thought I was doing something wrong, but yeah, I just kept needing some more turns. And honestly, for 30,000 miles, not too bad looking. Let's throw it into the light. Like, I'm touching. Yeah, I mean, this is a little bit of buildup. Nothing crazy. I mean, you can see it all kind of coming off in my hands. As you see, good old Bosch plugs. These ones are BMW branded, but you know, it's all about the same. So yeah, since these aren't wet, that is a great sign. I was worried that could possibly have an internal leak on the spark plug stuff, just because, like I said, we've been chasing so many different air leaks, so many smoke tests. Everything seems fine now, but you know, just that last little bit of reassurance, because we're really trying to avoid replacing the valve cover, and so far so good. So now what we're gonna do, like I said, we're gonna be doing these one at a time. So I'll try and so I didn't realize that when I set you guys down that the video cut off. But basically what we did was we just put the spark plug in the socket and the extension and just hand thread it. As you can see, you can still loosen it, but I got it hand threaded all the way that I could. It doesn't feel like it was binding up or anything like that. And don't put any anti-seize, anything like that on the spark plugs. You want them to be dry. So that is what the manufacturer says. I've always stuck to that, and as you can see, I got it right out. Never had a problem with anything breaking or anything like that. So just stick with that. Stick with the 17 foot-pounds, 23 Newton meters, and everything should stay just like that. All right, got it all torqued down. And so when you install it, you're gonna want to put it back into the same position that you removed it. As you can see, there are these little notches right there where this tab will seat into, and if it's not directly on that, it will cause seating issues and you will get a misfire. So make sure that you put that all down. So I'm trying to do this with one hand. Just try and show you guys the gist. So the easiest way for me is to kind of get it inside of the cylinder tube, and then to kind of throw on your connector like so. Make sure that it's all the way seated in, so that way when you lock everything down, you're also pushing it down into that tab. And you're just gonna wanna give it some good presses. Make sure it's all the way seated on there. It should feel pretty solid. And boom, that is how you do spark plug and ignition coil number 6. Now the rest of them are just about the same. For this backside here, you're gonna wanna keep all this off. For the front ones, not so much. As you can see, there's plenty of room. You are gonna wanna, you know, disconnect, now that we have the battery disconnected, disconnect this for your PCB, just so you have enough room for spark plug number 2. But other than that, I mean, it is pretty straightforward. I can try and put this on a time lapse, but if I just cut the video now, it's pretty much just all the same. This is about however much you're gonna need to take off. And of course, you know this, you might be able to finagle your way through there. I would say it's just a lot easier. It's literally just a couple push tabs right here, and then it just all comes out. Put that back on for when I'm ready. All right, so one thing I'm gonna go over, again, these are all just no wet oil or anything, no gas, just super dirty. But that spark plug socket that I got at O'Reilly's, the magnet is just not even working after the first one. Like, it works fine for number 6, but now with 5 and 4, the spark plugs are just falling out. So I do not recommend getting that one. I actually have one that I bought off FCP. I don't remember what brand it is, but I have that one at my shop. Just didn't want to get it. But I'm just little intermission, try and do a time lapse of the rest of these. Might have to actually stop and go get lunch. The wife and kids are pretty hungry. And my other vehicle here, my wife doesn't like to drive by herself. So we're gonna have to take a quick intermission, and then we'll get back to all of this when we're done. All right, so yes, my my face covering is a little funny. It's for Halloween, but it's freezing outside, like 17 degrees. But I just wanted to go over one thing. I got everything put back together, you know, make sure you got everything plugged back in. I got the new piece on, but one of the clips already broke off. I just don't feel like this is a very good piece. You know, it was only $40 from O'Reilly's. I might just order an OEM one. from FCP Euro, because they're also only like 50 bucks for a normal one. That one also just feels so stiff. And this plug-in, I had to force it in for it to even plug in to the crankcase. So I'm hoping there's no issues with that. But we're just gonna have to send it for now anyways. I'm ordering some more stuff off FCP Euro anyways. So I'll just add it to the list, but we're hoping that the little zip tie trick will work for now. It feels pretty secured on there, and I mean the O-rings in there, everything's all brand new, so hopefully that kind of helps it out a little bit. So got the battery connected back in. Make sure that you do that. You know, make sure you get all your vacuum lines, anything that you took off, back on into the right spot. You know, if you do end up removing the crankcase piece, the T25s with the more threads that seem like they're a little bit shorter, those are the ones for the crankcase. And there's a lot of T25s you're taking off, so make sure you don't mix those up like I did. But it was all good because it was just one little piece in the cowl. So we're gonna go get the keys and get this all started up. All right, let's get this bad boy started up. We're gonna get some lights on the dash. He took off the battery for a long time, like 4x4, DSC, X drive. The time's gonna reset, all that stuff. I definitely need a new battery. Mine's like 6 years old. So we're gonna need to get that taken care of. But yeah, so far so good. You know, everything seems great. So if you enjoyed this video and this helps you out, please make sure you give this a like, a comment on anything maybe you did differently. But yeah, that's just a simple procedure on how to take care of your spark plugs and your ignition coils in these X5s. Just, you know, make sure you're super careful with all the wiring and, you know, do each step by step, and it should turn out pretty easy, pretty good. You can do it in your backyard, quite literally. Alright, so there you have it. If you follow my steps and follow along to a T, you should be able to maintain your X5, or maybe you're trying to chase down some misfires or a limp mode or something like that, and this should help you out and get you in the right direction to take care of the ignition coils and spark plugs. Again, if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, you know, give it a comment, subscribe. It really helps me out to try and make more videos like this. I know these E70 X5s can be troublesome, but they're actually really easy to work on at the end of the day. And honestly, you can get the parts pretty cheap now that it's been like 10 years since they came out. So yeah, keep letting me know if you guys want to find some more videos like this, if you want me to keep making how-to DIY videos like this, and I'll keep making them for you guys. Until then, see you next time.